Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Yonathan. All right, first and foremost, want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Wadash. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Now, uh, make this statement often the time that your value is attached to your usefulness to the Lord. Okay, forwarding His will the same way a wife should be forwarding the will of her husband. She should be about his business, forwarding the enterprise, forwarding what he's trying to accomplish. And the Lord wants the kingdom of heaven to be established on the earth, along with other things. But our job is in that department. So that comes with preaching the word, um, following after the Lord's standard to the best of our ability. Okay. Reading, studying, watching the signs of the times, filtering everything that we see in the world through the spirit, through prophecy, okay, which is gonna by default build your faith up as well. Okay. The first precept I want to go to, bear with me while I pull it up here. I want to get 2 Corinthians 4th chapter, and I want the 7th verse, but I can start up here. All right. Start at verse 4. Okay, it says, in whom the God of this world had blinded the minds of them. Now, who was the earth given to? Pursuant to Job 9:24, the earth was given to the hand of the wicked. Many people, no matter how intellectually capable they might be, they're not spiritually capable. So, if the Lord hasn't chosen them to grasp the fullness of this truth, to grasp the dark sayings and these things, they're not going to get it, regardless of their intellectual capacity. All right. 2 Corinthians 4:4, once more from the top. It says, in whom the God of this world had blinded the minds with all his spell casting, with all his rhetoric, the media, all right, his educational system. He's poisoned the minds of the people to the point of no return, unless the Lord chooses them out of the litter. Blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of the Mashiach, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. Okay? That's, again, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. And even when you read in, let's go to Romans 11:7 real quick. I'll jump right back to this. Okay? Nobody's going to get this truth unless they're of the elect. All right? This is Romans 11:7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for. You look at all our people, they cling on to these different philosophies. They're trying. Everybody's clinging on to some form of knowledge. Okay, to understand where their worth comes from. Everybody, but truly, as we know, your worth comes from your usefulness to the Lord, and that's it in righteousness. Okay, what we're doing now is going to be attached to our eternal reputation in the kingdom of heaven. So you got a lot of people, man. 2/3 of our people, like the scriptures say, their head is going to be down in the kingdom. They're gonna have that thought. They're gonna think back, damn, I was being a nigga, you know? And then you have people that understand that, well, man, I was a part of that number that the Lord put the spirit on to stand stiffly for the things of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's the portion that we want to be a part of. Okay? Romans 11:7 again. What then Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Now we go back to 2 Corinthians 4:4. It says, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of the Mashiach, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. For we preach not ourselves, and this is the point I want to get. It's gonna make it full in verse 7. But this treasure we've been given, this understanding. Okay, the knowledge we have, our capabilities to break particular things down, is all for the purpose of magnifying Yahweh Shem Yahushai, not ourselves. And anybody who's in the spirit of magnifying himself, again, to you all learning, listening, and learning, that should be a red flag to you. Okay? Verse 5, for we preach not ourselves, but Yahushua Mashiach, the Lord, and ourselves your servants for Yahushua's sake. For God, who commanded light to shine out of darkness, has shined in our hearts to give the light of knowledge of the glory of Yahweh in the face of Yahushua. Verse 7, all right? It says, "For we have this treasure, this understanding, this knowledge in earthen vessels, in the flesh." In these earthen vessels, man, they're able to sin, they're able to go off, mistakes are going to be made, all right? Our righteousness is as filthy rags, as the scriptures say. But the thing that gives us any kind of value and usefulness is the fact that the Lord has blessed us with the understanding. That's what gives us value. I want to look up that word treasure here in the Greek. And the word there is G2344. All right. And the word is thesaurus. Like makes me think of the thesaurus. All right. The word is thesaurus. And it says the place in which good and precious things are collected and laid up. A casket, coffer. I'm assuming that's a coffin. Let me look at. No casket's a coffin, but I haven't seen that word coffer before. So let's look it up. A strong box, a small chest for holding valuables. Okay. A casket, coffer, or other receptacle in values in which values are kept. Yeah, so we're in this earthen vessel which is gonna perish. And when we're changed, this is gonna be put off this existence. So we've been given this treasure, this valuable thing, in something that's temporary. These bodies, because we're gonna get new bodies. All right. It says treasury, storehouse, repository, things laid up in the treasury, collected items. All right. 2 Corinthians 4:7 again. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power of Yahweh may be of Yahweh and not of us. So we've been given this treasure in this state, in this low level, filthy state, to show the power of the Lord that we serve. Okay? So that in itself should let you know, okay, I'm in this flesh. My purpose is to be about the Lord's business, to do things the way that He would want them done, and not to gratify my flesh, not to be patted on the back here on this side. That'll come later. But right now, about the mission of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And that's not the case with a lot of people who know that they're Israelites. Because there's a difference between knowing and being. You see? And let's go to Galatians 5:17. This is the fight that we deal with on a daily basis. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. So being in this flesh, you have urges to want to do carnal shit, to want to be patted on the back and be appreciated here on this side, which may lead one to do things that they ought not to. But no, we know there's a certain conduct by default that you're gonna subscribe to. Okay, that not every Israelite is subscribing to. Okay, verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, and heresies. And it keeps going, just like in Romans, the first chapter at the bottom. Okay? We walk in his wisdom. We're not able to keep the law perfect on this side. All right? But this knowledge that we've been given, along with the faith, along with the grace, the Lord is going to cover us. All right? Man. Now let's go get Acts, just to double down on that point. Go to Acts 15. All right. Let's see here. Acts 15 and verse at the top of Peter's yeah, Salakia. I don't know why it's two. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm not sure where it left off at. All right, but we were reading Acts, the 15th chapter. And I'm gonna start at verse 7 here. Okay. It's Acts 15 and 7. It says, and when there had been much disputings, Peter rose up and said unto them, men and brethren, ye know how that a good while ago God made choice among us, that the Gentiles by my mouth should hear the word of the gospel and believe. So, same way we're hearing the gospels on the other side of the world, we would be considered Gentiles. All right, Israelite foreigners scattered into other lands who once kept the ways of those lands. Okay, that the Gentiles by my mouth should hear the word of the gospel and believe. We heard the word, we believe, right? And God, which knoweth the hearts, bear them witness, giving them the Holy Spirit, even as he did unto us. So back then you had the Commonwealth. They didn't look at the scattered Israelites, the foreigners, as legit, because they were like, oh, these guys been keeping, the ways of other gods. They've been missing Sabbath. These people can't come back. That was the mentality. These people can't be, you know, of the same cloth. That was the mentality. All right. But again, we have this truth in earthen vessels. So we're not going to be perfect here on this side. We're going to make mistakes. And the Lord going to make you make mistakes just to reveal unto you that you don't got it. That it's through him that you have a chance even to make it. And that realization has to be had for everybody, especially the elect. They're going to have that revelation. Okay. Verse 8. And God, which knoweth the hearts, bear them witness, giving them the Holy Spirit, even as he did unto us, and put no difference between us and them, purifying their hearts by faith. All right, purifying their hearts by what? By faith, which is the highest form of pleasing the Lord. That's why the question is posed in the scriptures: when the Son of Man return, shall he find faith on the earth? Okay, so that's what needs to be being built up, because that's the only way you can please the Lord. That's the only way you could pass the test to come. Okay, so you build up your faith, your usefulness to the Lord is gonna go up, which means your actual value is going up. Okay, because your value is attached to your usefulness to the Lord, to your usefulness to the husband. All right, so Habarat is the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Hakwadash. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth, sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon you. Shalom.